Welcome to the Unapologetic Mompreneur, the podcast for mums with an online business who are ready to take back their time, home, business and self so they can restore the balance and thrive, both at home and at work, without feeling like they have to choose between the two. I'm your host, Sarah Dew, life and biz coach for mompreneurs. I'm also a mum, stepmom, wife, introvert, breast cancer survivor, and your mentor for making a change for the better. I've learned how to go from surviving to thriving and unapologetically create a business I love and the life I want for me and my family without worrying about what other people think. And now I'm here to help you do the same. Because being an unapologetic mompreneur doesn't mean that we're selfish or that we don't care about others. It simply means that we are not afraid to show up as our true, authentic selves, to step into our purpose, do what we know is right for ourselves and the ones we love, and take the steps we need to take to make our dream life and business a reality. Join me each week where I'll be sharing all of my best tips and strategies, plus the occasional dose of tough but gentle love to help you feel empowered, motivated, and confident to take action so that you can become the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. So, are you ready to unapologetically create a business and life you love? Let's do this. Hey there, and welcome to episode 6 of the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast. In today's episode, I wanted to chat with you all about the different ways that I am showing up as an unapologetic mompreneur. In other words, the things that I am not apologizing for in my day-to-day as a mum, as a person, and as the boss of my business that is helping me go from surviving to thriving and creating a business and life that is on my terms without worrying about what other people think. In episode 1, I talked all about what it means to be an unapologetic mompreneur and how living your life unapologetically and being your true authentic self can help you create that biz and life that you love. And then in episode 4, I shared 5 of the benefits, 5 of the different ways that I have discovered that I have thrived since embarking on my journey to becoming an unapologetic mompreneur. But what does that all mean in practice? What does it actually look like on a day-to-day of living your life unapologetically? Here are 5 things that I am not apologizing for as an unapologetic mompreneur. The first thing that I'm not apologizing for is taking care of myself and making my own well-being a priority. I used to feel incredibly guilty about making time and having and enjoying time for myself. I felt like it was indulgent, that it was selfish, that who was I to have time for me and do luxurious things for me, even if it was just an afternoon going for a walk with nobody else. I used to think, who was I to have this time for myself, and that I was neglecting my roles as mum and homemaker if I dared to go and have time and do something that was for me, that I was being selfish by doing it. And then when I did have time for myself as well, quite often I would struggle with coming up with ideas and ways to spend it and not know how to do it and how to spend time with myself, that I would then go and tick something else off of my to-do list. But I've had several occasions in my most recent years where my health has had to become my absolute priority, and it has taught me just how important it is to make your well-being a priority and to take care of yourself and fill your cup too. If you've listened to the introduction episode 0, you'll know all about my story about breast cancer and how it was important for me to absolutely focus on my health at that time to help me get through it and get up and going again. And then more recently as well with my business, I thought in the early days that if I was to make a success of everything, I had to work every hour under the sun, and I hit burnout on more than one occasion. And all of those experiences taught that if I was to do anything, if I was to succeed, if I was to create the family life that I wanted, I needed to take care of myself. And so I embarked on a mission to create a self-care routine that I could stick to make time for me a priority and do things for myself every single day, no matter how big or small, that help me to fill my cup, rest and recharge. And now I'm a little bit further in my business. I've gone one step further, that I set myself every Friday afternoon is my afternoon off. It's only for a couple of hours, but I don't work. I do something that is just for me, whether it's going for a walk, mooching around my local bookshop, going to Starbucks and curling up with my favorite book, or even playing the PlayStation and my favorite game, Crash Bandicoot, because that is the only time while my boy is at school that I'm going to get anywhere near the PlayStation. But I've learned over the years that it is super, super important for us to have time for ourselves so we can rest and recharge, and so that we can fill our cups too. And now that is something that I do not apologize for. I make time for myself every single day, even if it's just 5 minutes. And I schedule time for myself every single week so that I can rest and recharge, and so that I have the time and the energy to take care of the ones that I love. The second thing that I'm not apologizing for is not doing it all myself, because we cannot do it all ourselves, and nor should we need to. And there is absolutely no shame and no harm in asking for help. There are only so many hours in the day, and we've only got one pair of hands. And when we are working full time on our businesses and juggling that with home life and school life, and our spouses are working too, there is only so much we can do. We cannot get everything done. And I am not ashamed, and I am not going to apologize for asking my boys and getting my boys on board to help around the home and do things, and to spread the load as well. Because if I'm working all week, I am not then going to spend my spare few hours running around getting everything else done as well, when there are 3 other people in the house perfectly capable of doing things as well, and for us to work as a team, as a family unit. And so that's what we do. It's taken a bit of refinement over the years, but we've got it down to a fine art now, where the boys are old enough to help and chip in. And then it means on the weekends we can get everything done, and then we have the rest of the time to spend together. And it works really, really well. I've encouraged them from the early days to join in and help with the chores. And whether you call it chores or family service, whether you pay them allowance or whether you give them screen credit time for their screens, it's totally up to you how you do it. But if your children are old enough, I encourage you to get them on board, because not only does it help them contribute to the family, it also teaches them everything they need to know when they come to leave home. My boys know how to iron, they know how to cook, they know how to clean, they know how to wash their clothes and do their laundry. And now my eldest is responsible. He is 24 now, but he's responsible for taking the bins out when it needs taking. He puts them out on bin day. On a Saturday, he will hoover the house from top to bottom, and he will clean the main bathroom and the downstairs cloakroom. And then my youngest, he is now almost 13, but he is responsible for emptying and loading the dishwasher. He lays and clears the table every night after dinner, before and after dinner, and he feeds the dogs for me. And then my husband's the same as well. He'll take care of any DIY jobs around the house, and on a Saturday morning, he will clean the ensuite bathroom for us too. And then in between that, with me, I take care of all of the laundry, I take care of all of the grocery shopping, the meal planning. I make sure all of the bills are paid on time, and I'm the one that is responsible for all of the birthdays and Christmas planning and everything else in between. But that works really, really well for us. It's a big team effort. It's taken, like I said, some refining over the years, but we've got to a place now where the workload is spread, and I don't feel like I have it sitting all on my shoulders. And I actually, on a Saturday morning, and I'm not ashamed and not going to apologize for the fact that I get to sit and have a cup of coffee and I read my book for an hour while everybody else is busy being around me, getting all the housework done. And it feels amazing. And then on a Monday morning, I will blitz clean the house, get the laundry going, and then I'm ready and set up for my working week. So that's the second thing that I am not apologizing for, is actually having everybody else around the house chipping in on everything too. Because if your kids are old enough and they can help too, you don't need to do it all, and nor should you. They should be helping you too. The third thing that I am not apologizing for is having firm, clear boundaries. Because if we're going to thrive both at home and at work without feeling like we have to choose between the two and get everything else done, we have to have clear boundaries. We have to have boundaries over what we're prepared to say yes to, of what we're prepared to tolerate and take on, what we are going to say no to, and also boundaries with ourselves and with our children as well. So boundaries on the way we speak to ourselves, boundaries on what we do within terms of self-care, like I've already mentioned, and boundaries with our kids as well, of when we're working from home especially. I have boundaries with my boys that if the door is shut, I am busy working on something that's super important. But if my door is open, they can walk in at any time. And it's super clear to them that they know when it's okay to come in or when it's interrupting my flow. And that's absolutely fine to do. I'm not apologizing for that, because the very second that my work is done, I am there with them, doing things with them. And we all know as a family that on weekend time, that is our quality family time. And during the week, it's working week and things just have to get done. So what are your boundaries? Do you have boundaries around everything? Are they working for you? Or do you feel like you're being pulled every which way? Because if so, it might be time for you to take a look at your boundaries and see where they need tweaking. And I have another podcast episode coming up fairly soon where we dive into that. And I'll be sharing exactly how I break down my boundaries, review them, and how I check in on them regularly too, to make sure that they are still working for me. The fourth thing that I am not apologizing for as an unapologetic mompreneur is worrying about what other people think. In episode 4, I shared how one of the biggest benefits of being an unapologetic mompreneur is worrying less about what others think. Over the years, I have learned to worry less, but now I'm also not apologizing or going to feel bad about not worrying about what others think too. This one has been a very, very hard journey for me, because I have always been a people pleaser and I have always worried about doing the right thing and saying the right thing and not upsetting people or letting people down, and always tailoring and shaping and who I was and dumbing myself down in order to fit with what I thought people wanted from me. But over the years, I have learned how to deal with that. I've learned how to quieten those voices and how to be authentically myself, how to share who I really am, and know that actually that the judgment and everything and all of the validation comes from within, that I don't need to question my worth or make my decisions or seek approval based on the expectations for all the opinions of other people. And as the more you dive into that and the more you get used to trusting yourself and trusting your judgment and listening to your inner voice and listening to your gut instinct, you will find that you worry less about what other people think. Yes, you care about what people think, but worrying about and caring about what people think are two very, very different things. And it took me a long time to realize that it was okay to not worry about what other people think, because they are actually spending more time doing the same. They're worrying about what other people think as well. And people really don't take as much notice of everything as we think they do. If I wanted to grow my business, and I want to grow my business, then I have to put myself out there. It's vulnerable, it's scary, and there are times where it still does raise its ugly head, because I am only human. And there are times where I do start to question what I'm doing, and will people like this? What will they think? What will they say? Will they judge? And then I stop myself and I say, does it really matter? What is the worst that can happen? If they don't like it, that is up to them. I am not in control of other people's thoughts, of other people's actions. They are the ones that are in control. And if I have said something or I have shared something that they don't like, then I am aware of the fact that actually that's triggering something inside themselves from their own perspective of life. It's nothing to do with me, because I cannot control how people react. And whatever, regardless of what people think of me or about me or what I've done or what I've said, I trust my own judgment and my own internal thoughts and feelings. And I trust that I don't need the judgment and I don't need the validation from other people to make me feel worthy. So I go out there now and I, to the best I can, every single day, try and do and lead my life unapologetically and being true to my authentic self. If it's something that I want to do, and it feels right and it's in my gut, something that is a right decision to make, then I will go with it. The fifth thing that I am not apologizing for is doing what works for me and my family. There is so much noise, and I've said this lots of times before, and it's something that I am super, super passionate about, that there is so much noise out there of all of the needs and the shoulds of how you should do this and how you should do that. And it's time to quieten that noise. It's time to listen to our inner judgments and ask ourselves, what is it that works for us? Nobody knows your family better than you. You know what your family needs, and I know what my family needs as well. My family and I, my husband and I, we are not afraid to set our own rules. One thing that I have learned, despite all the noise, is that I know better than anyone, what feels right for my business too as well, what my family needs and how best to run my home. And I'm not going to apologize for making up my own rules and doing what I know is right for us, for me, for my family, and for my business. But I also know that I'm not afraid to switch things around as well, because things ebb and flow and things change. And sometimes we have to change and switch things up a bit. And I'm not afraid to do that. I'm not afraid to say, hey, this isn't working right now. Let's try and switch things up. I'm not going to apologize for asking myself what is right for me and my family, what is right for me and my business. I spent so many years questioning and doubting my skills, doubting my capabilities, and doubting the way that I parented, because I was listening to everything out there and trying to mold myself and fit myself in, when I realized that actually I know my family better than anybody else. I know my business better than anybody else. I know what my family needs, and I know what I need, and I know what my business needs. And I trust that in me. I trust that I don't need to seek the validation from other people. And I'm not going to apologize for making up my own rules and doing what I know is right for me and my family. It's taken me time to get to this point where I have these things that I don't apologize for, but I know that these are the ones that help me be my true authentic self and help me show up unapologetically every day, so that I can create the business that I want and I can create the life that I want for me and my family without worrying about what other people think. So here they are again. I'm not apologizing for taking care of myself, for not doing it all myself, for having firm, clear boundaries, and for not worrying about what other people think, and for doing what I know works for me and my family. What would you add to the list if you were to live your life unapologetically? What would you not apologize for? What matters to you most, and what would you stand by to help you be your true authentic self and unapologetically live your life so that you can create the business and life that you know you and your family deserve? I would love to know. Jump over onto Instagram and send me a DM and share with me what you would add to the list, or which one of those resonated with you most. And I can't wait to catch up with you and chat with you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining me for another installment of the Unapologetic Mompreneur podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I would love for you to leave me a rating and a review so that other mompreneurs can find this podcast too. Here's to unapologetically becoming the mum, wife, biz owner, and woman you know you are meant and deserve to be. I can't wait to chat with you in the next episode. Bye for now.